Hi, Trick or Treat.
Hi.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Think you can hit me a little bit more? Man, did y'all see that skeleton? Where did that skeleton come from? That was spooky. Listen, kids, Halloween is a very, very, very special day for me and my family. But we got to be safe. You got to watch your candy. You got to mind your parents. You got to look out for each other. And most importantly, watch out for those cars out there. Very, very important. So you guys have a fun and safe time. Happy Halloween.
Hello everybody, Darren Coles here with Employers Health and Safety, and I'm here to talk to you about 4 specific things for this Halloween. First, I want to talk about child safety tips. I want to talk about parent safety tips. I want to talk about safety tips for checking the candy, and finally, I want to take the opportunity, I want to talk about pet safety tips too. So, first and foremost, let's get into child safety tips. Number 1, feed your kid. Take your kids out to the buffet, get them stuffed, fill them up, give them Diet Coke, whatever you got to do. That way, when they're out and about running around from house to house trick-or-treating, they're not going to feel tempted to reach in and grab some candy and chow it down before you get the opportunity to inspect it. So please make sure that you feed your kid. Very, very important. Number 2, carry a flashlight. All right? With that flashlight, make sure you put new batteries in it. Don't go borrow mom's batteries. Don't go and get batteries from someplace else or last year's batteries. Get brand new batteries because you don't want the kids running from house to house and the batteries go out on that flashlight, then all of a sudden they don't have any flashlights, especially if they wind up, somewhere dark. So fresh batteries in your flashlights to make sure the flashlights work. Inspect them before you send them out. Make sure, number 3, make sure that the kids walk from house to house. Don't have them run. That candy isn't going to go anywhere. There's going to be plenty of candy for all the kids. And of course, unless you come to my house, you can look at me and see I like me some candy. But just make sure that they're walking because you don't want them tripping and falling and then going home early with only 1/3 bag full of candy because you got to whip out the first aid kit to take care of the kid because they fell and busted their head. You don't want that happening. Okay. So, number 4. Make sure they stay in groups of 3 or more. Make sure they're loud, they're happy, and they don't talk to strangers. We're talking stranger danger here, okay? Don't let them be talking to strangers. They don't need to be talking to people they don't know. They need to stay focused in on just going from house to house and getting that candy, and of course, parents typically watch their kids, but if you got your kids, that are in middle school and so on and so forth, that are still trick-or-treating. I mean, mine did it all the way up through high school. Just make sure that they're not talking to strangers and they stay in groups of 3 or more. Number 5, wear reflective clothing. Pretty important, all right? The main reason is because, the kids need to know 2 things. 1, they need to look both ways before they ever cross the street because they don't want to get run over by a car, but they also need to make sure that the people driving those cars can see them. We've got to be able to see them kids. Very, very important. Okay, wear reflective clothing. Approach only well-lit houses and do not go into homes that you do not know. What I mean by that, yes, okay, they're going to trick-or-treat at some strangers' houses. I get it. It's going to happen. Kids do it. There are going to be houses in your neighborhood. You don't know every single neighbor in your neighborhood. But don't go inside. If you don't know them, just don't go inside. If they're invited inside, don't go inside. Just, handle your business there at the front door. Trick or treat, get your candy, thank them, head on down the road. That's just inviting trouble. Kids, number 7, do not touch the candy until your parents give it the handy. Your parents have got to go through this candy and they got to go through it and inspect it and make sure it's safe. And I'm going to cover that all here in just a second. Number 8, wear shorter costumes, knee high. Longer costume with longer fabric on it, if they're going to be dragging the ground, you're going to trip over it or other kids are going to trip over it or you're going to ruin your pretty little costume. Just wear something that's comfortable and put on comfortable shoes too. So that way when you're going between houses, you're not going to trip and hurt thyself. Don't wear your mask from house to house, just have you mask up here and you get up to the door, you slip it down. Because you don't want to wear it going up and down stairs. You don't want to wear it going from house to house. Because you're going to be walking briskly anyway. You're going to try and get that candy. The whole purpose of it is, so you can see where you're going. Refer back to what I just talked about in number 8. Again, you're going to fall and hurt thyself. So it's very, very important. That should cover the kids. If I missed something, I'm sure parents are going to have additional safety tips for you. Make sure you listen to them. I want to talk about parent safety tips now. With parent safety tips, make sure that your doorway, your walk, and your steps coming up into your walk, and your stairway coming up to your door is clear and unobstructed of anything. Very, very important, because you don't want the trick-or-treaters falling and tripping anything. Now, I know there's some folks out there that like to scare the kids and so on and so forth. Just don't scare them to the ground. If you're going to scare them to the ground, you need to make sure you have 2 things. Number 1, your first aid kit ready to go, and number 2, have your homeowner's insurance ready to go too, because I'm sure you're going to have to, have that taken care of if that kid busts their head pretty good and has to go to the hospital. Pay close attention while you're driving. Very, very important. You got to watch where you're going around Halloween. You got to watch where you're going anyway, but especially around Halloween because there's kids everywhere. Slow down. There's no rush to get there. Take your time. If you're not going to pay attention on Halloween, just make sure you have a good lawyer handy because you're going to need one. Use battery-operated lights for jack-o'-lanterns. Yeah, dads, I'm sorry. Fire's bad around Halloween. Fire's bad anyway, unless you're actually burning brush and it's controlled. But you just don't do it. Kids like fire too. They really do. So just no fire for Halloween. Nix it. Not going to happen. All right. Don't drink and drive. That should be a no-brainer. Just don't drink and drive. Refer to number 2. You don't want that on your conscience. You just don't. Make sure you have a good designated driver that doesn't drink anything and they're very alert in what they're doing. All right, we're going to talk about checking the candy. What does that even mean? Again, to avoid them kids from being tempted to jumping in that candy before, you get a chance to inspect it. Make sure you get them out to the buffet. You feed them, you fill them up. Make sure they got enough food in them so that way they're going to be hopefully too full to be jumping all over that candy between house to house. Once again, once you've gotten that candy home, inspect that candy carefully under a bright light. This is what you're going to look for. You're going to be checking for past expiration dates. You're going to check for lumps. You're going to check for if the candy contains any foreign objects. You're going to check to see if it's been unwrapped. You're going to see if it's ripped or opened. You're going to check to see if it smells funny. If it smells funny, you got to be throwing that stuff away. Is it from a manufacturer you've never heard from, or is it discolored or stained? Is it mismatched candy with different colors and pieces inside? And is it candy out of the original box or wrapper? If the candy doesn't look right, feel right, throw it out. You're better safe than sorry. Throw out old candy that's been repackaged in a bag if it looks like it's been tampered with in any kind of way or it's been rewrapped. Throw out cookies or baked goods from people that you don't know. I know it sounds crazy. The majority of Americans are good people. They're not going to want to do anything to hurt kids, but we have some loose screws in our country. We really, really do. And you just be mindful. If you're getting brownies and cookies and stuff from people that you just don't know, just don't take the risk, throw it away. As far as fruit, you want to wash it first, then you're going to slice it up in small pieces, and I know this sounds very bad, but it's just a reality that could happen. You want to check for needles, razor blades, pins, shards, glass, anything. It can happen, folks. And remember, don't let your kids eat too much candy at once. Set some candy eating guidelines for them. Of course, my kids had, their 50 pounds of candy punched out in about a week. But you want to stretch it out at least up through Christmas if you can. Because you don't want your kids to get a stomachache and get upset. And, if you find anything hazardous or goofy with the candy, please report it to the police. Let the police know. Get a police report going. Because that way they have an opportunity to try and track down where that stuff comes from. Pet safety. Pet safety. This is the last part. Just 3 things real quick. Number 1, if your fur baby is skittish, put them in a safe place with their favorite toys to help keep them occupied. Don't put them in a closet. That's just bad. Don't do that. someplace where they got enough space to roam around, food, water, stuff like that. You really don't need Cujo greeting these young kids at the door. It's going to scar them and maim them for the rest of their life. It's probably going to scar the dog too, or the pet. Just don't do it. So, number 2, please don't feed your pet any candy or chocolate unless you're planning on extra money and time at the vet. It's just a no-brainer. You don't want to feed your pet the candy. If you do, it's bad. Okay, I'm just telling you, it's just bad. And costumes. Let's talk about number 3 finally. Costumes can be stressful for a pet, especially since the pet didn't get to choose the costume in the first place. So, you got to understand, please take those costumes off them if they're feeling agitated and they're just not liking them, so on and so forth, and you're making them wear something they really didn't want to wear. So just be mindful of that. Other than that, those are the Halloween tips we have here for you, Employers Health and Safety. There's a ton of them. You can look them up. You go. Other great YouTubers out there has posted some great Halloween tips as well. I'm sure the Joplin Fire Department and Police Department's going to have some great tips for you. There's a lot of people out there with great Halloween tips. Just be safe out there. Please watch for kids. Please watch for traffic. Kids look both ways before you cross the street. And be careful and have fun this Halloween. Thank you very much.
Check out our YouTube videos, and we're going to be doing 5-minute safety topics, and we're going to make them fun for everybody to listen to and or see. But again, if you do like them, please share them, like them. You know the deal. We're out there trying to promote ourselves and make sure that everybody understands what we're doing. Hey, Team EHS and Employers Health and Safety, as always we say, if you're not working, we're not working. Thanks and have a safe day. EHS consultant services are designed to reduce losses and control those that do occur, while at the same time minimize the customer's major OSHA, MSHA, EPA, and DOT compliance liabilities. EHS LLC in no way guarantees complete regulatory compliance.